It's time for Artist Direct on KDEC FM 100.5, your local connection to the music scene. Today's program is made possible by Holstrom Jewelers, Elm Street, Cresco.
It's Artist Direct here on FM 100.5, and you just heard Mike Doughty with Strike the Motion off of his album released back in August, Yes and Also Yes, and I'm incredibly pleased, what can I say, to have Mike Doughty on the phone with me this morning. Good morning, Mike.
Oh, how kind of you to say it. Thanks for having me.
It's absolutely true. We've actually been promoting the fact for a good month and a half that you're going to be on with me. And my co-host, who couldn't join me on this interview, is exceedingly jealous that it's just me and you together. So he'll be happy if you say hi, Tim.
Hello, Tim. I'm sending you flowers, I promise.
Oh, no, now I'm jealous. Okay.
Oh.
It's a whole thing. Don't get started. Mike Doughty, the album came out back in August. Yes and Also Yes. We've been spinning that track, Strike the Motion, and getting some fantastic response.
Awesome.
Yeah, and so, but you're so prolific. You keep having things coming out. So we're going to talk about a couple things today. The album Yes and Also Yes. And then the album that just came out in January, which is a fascination all of its own. So first, Yes and Also Yes. That was recorded, between 2009 and 10?
Yeah, yes, exactly right. Mostly 2010.
And so was this during the time when you were on a tour schedule, or when you were writing these, were you mainly sort of hanging out at home and thinking, I need a new album?
Well, I went to an artist colony is what it was. I went to a place called Yaddo, which I'm freaked out that I got in the first place. It's like a schmancy, James Baldwin, Carson McCullers, Leonard Bernstein, kind of like ancient writers.
Yeah, isn't this like Truman Capote kind of place?
Oh, yeah, exactly. Truman Capote, yeah. I mean, it's like Aaron Copland, it's hardcore. And, you send them some work, and if they accept you, you go up there for a month, and they, feed you and put you up in this weird mansion and just give you space to work.
I'm trying to imagine how that works. I mean, you got Aaron Copland, Truman Capote. I mean, all these different people from different sort of genres. And Leonard Bernstein and Mike Doughty. What is it like?
It's really cool. I mean, it's like, for one thing, it's all levels of success. So everybody's super talented and really interesting to talk to. That's the best part of it. But you'll have a Pulitzer Prize winner, and then you'll have somebody that's still bartending. So it's awesome. And we're race, age, sexual preference, gender, it's all mixed up.
So how did you get in? How did you, I mean, it's not surprising that you were a part of it, but what made you first of all decide I'm going to go here, and who sort of is the keeper of the attendees?
Oh, they have some weird system of, they send your work blind to somebody who evaluates it. I think it's somebody who's already been there. And, they don't know who anybody is, and, apparently, super famous people have actually gotten rejected. People have been there, 8 times have, gotten rejected, because you got to send new stuff every time. It's pretty hardcore.
Okay, that's pretty fascinating. What's the place called again?
Yaddo.
All right, we'll have to check that out. The album Yes and Also Yes, I was reading things Mike Doughty would like you to know about his new album, which was enjoyable, so that had to be fun to write anyway.
Oh, yeah. Well, you do this thing where they try to get some dude to write a press kit for you, and it's no, there's just some stuff I want you to know. Let me just write a list.
That was my favorite. Actually, number 1 was my favorite. So according to things you want us to know, Yes and Also Yes was the headline of your profile on an online dating site. Is this true?
Yeah, totally true. I mean, I was a miserable failure at online dating, but yeah, I gave it a shot.
Somehow this is killing me. So Mike Doughty, probably one of the most famous singer-songwriters out there, is on an online dating site trying to meet other singles. I think that's fantastic.
It's hard meeting groovy, smart girls in their 30s.
Well, I can understand that.
And I met my girlfriend through friends, so it's I've sort of been where the hell were you? I spent a lot of time on these super cruddy, weird, awkward dates with people from online.
I have to ask, was there one that stands out as the most strange or awkward sort of interaction between you and someone else?
Well, I mean, there weren't any really weird ones, but there were ones that was it was oh, you are way larger than your picture, or older, or just something really different from who the picture is. And I guess I'm too nice because It's not an inappropriate reaction to be like, hey, you just totally lied to me. Goodbye.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so what picture did you send? Was it completely truthful?
It was completely truthful.
All right.
Completely truthful. Like somebody was like, oh, you got to add 2 inches to your height and subtract 3 years from your age. I was like, I'm not going to do that.
It's like your driver's
license.
license.
Everyone thought I was like in my mid-40s and, 5'10".
I'm sorry, this is just, it's stuck in my head because I'm just imagining like all the people that are online dating right now going, oh, I think that was Mike Doughty. I was talking with Mike. Also, from the album, I have to say, so the Christmas song you did, Holiday, Roseanne Cash is one of my all-time favorites. And we played that song over and over and over again at the holidays, which made me nothing but happy. But you had a pretty interesting interaction with her when you guys were on stage.
Yeah, well, we did this benefit together, and she was the headliner. And she said, wow, I'm really nervous being here because, Mike Doughty's here and he's such a great songwriter. Mm-hmm. And my jaw hit the floor. It was crazy. But then, months later, I had her email, and I wrote Holiday with Dan Wilson. And, the idea was it was going to be like a Christmas song. It's like emotional, but it's real.
Yes.
And it's not going to be like some hipster, ha-ha, Christmas is dumb song. So we wrote this thing, and there was just a note I couldn't hit. So I was like, before I try all kinds of weird methods to, try and hit this note, I'll just, for the hell of it, write Roseanne an email and ask her if she wants to do it as a duet. And she wrote back like minutes later and said yes. So, I mean, it's super crazy.
Really? It was that simple?
Oh, yeah.
That's phenomenal. Totally. And it was a fantastic duet. I mean, really, it had great haunting sounds to it. It was not your typical Christmas song. It just made you want to listen and give you sort of that strangely happy but melancholy feel. It was good.
Yeah, thank you. I'm super proud of it.
Well, that's cool that you got to work with her. I'm glad you emailed her. Again, we're on with Mike Doughty here on Artist Direct FM 100.5. It's a pleasure to have him on. Speaking of Dan Wilson, who, of course, everyone knows from Semisonic, and I grew up going to high school in Fargo, North Dakota, so we were big Shakespeare fans when I was in school. But, of course, Adele and all this stuff going on, I was intrigued by the things that you should know about Mike Doughty list that your song Na Na Nothing, which we're going to play here before we end the program, you said it was, quote, partially stolen from a song written by, and this is what kills me, Nikki Sixx, Dan Wilson, and some guy that wrote a bunch of songs in High School Musical, Matt Gerard.
Exactly.
So wait, how did those three hit up?
They were put together by the publishing company, as like this weird trio. And they wrote this terrible song called The Blind Date from Hell, on which Nikki Sixx raps.
Nuh-uh.
Yes, he raps. He rhymes shady with Warren Beatty. He rhymes smell with Taco Bell. And it's just horrible.
Okay, please tell me you can get us a copy of that.
Play it for me, but I forced him to. And please. I stole one part from it that was really great.
Please tell us you can get us a copy of that. Come on.
No. If you ever hear that, it will not be for me. I have been sworn on my very life to keep this MP3 a secret.
I'm just having this picture, this image, Nikki Sixx. And I know Nikki Sixx is probably like grown up, but I'm imagining spandex and Dan Wilson and Matt Gerard like wearing bobcats or whatever those colors were for High School Musical. Yeah. It's an image.
Basketball uniform.
Yeah, basketball. Thank you. Oh my goodness, it's just ridiculous. I want to get away from the album just for a moment to talk about the book you did, because it's pretty intense. The book that came out, and was that just what, a month or two ago?
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
Okay, so the book is The Book of Drugs, a memoir. The Book of Drugs, aptly named, because really it starts from beginning to end. It's all about your in and out of the drug life. Yeah, indeed. So, did you grow up... terrible books where a guy does a bunch of drugs and then stops. Yeah, except that it's not like other memoirs. I mean, some people are really into reading these sort of rock memoirs that inevitably go into the drug sex scene. But it's interesting in that you really hit it hard. You don't pull any punches. You really let go. And also at the end, you sort of admit to not just at the end, but you admit to the fact that, yeah, I really liked him. And oh yeah, totally. But PC, nobody does that. Everybody else just says, we're sorry. There's all these commercials telling kids not to do drugs. And the problem with drugs is they're awesome. And they will kill you,
But, like, you know, I think every kid that picks up a drug is like, why was I lied to all those years, you know? I mean, I got to tell you, life is better now, and it is legitimately better. Like, I do not miss drugs. I wouldn't disown the experience because, you know, there was an amazing part of it.
Well, that totally makes sense. And, you know, it's interesting because nobody says that. And I think maybe that's what people are reacting to with your memoir is, I mean, from review to review, all of them are saying things like, you know, treacherous, intoxicated years, the music biz debauchery, band squabbles, self-deprecating humor, all these things. I think because it seems so soul-bearing, including your sort of experience with the drug life, and that's kind of unusual. You really throw it all out there.
Yeah, I mean, you know, like there's all kinds of like gnarly stories. Yeah. About me in there, and like dark stuff I did, and, you know, dark stuff a lot of people did.
Yeah.
So I felt obligated, you know, to be truthful.
Well, let's talk about that.
Hard on myself.
Because you actually started off with kind of a, look, here's the deal. I told my stories. My family's in them. People I know are in them. I tried to be truthful, at least for the truth that I remember. If you think it's wrong, I'm sorry. And then you sort of proceed to, if I may say, just sort of chuck people under the bus. Because is that accurate?
My old man.
Yes, let's talk about that.
It was a very dark, abusive marriage.
Okay.
It was really insane, you know, and like, you know, like it was really hard for me to like deal with like this is battered spouse stuff that I had gone through, like,
wow.
You know, emotional abuse and just really, really dark things. And, you know, it's like bands are marriages. And this was just like a horrific nightmare of a marriage. And that's like, part of the reason I wanted to write the book was it's, you know, it's not a story you hear often. I mean, mine's not the only one, but, you know, I don't know if people have really written about it before.
That's fair enough. I have to ask you, since you brought up soul coughing, do you still run into fans that only want to know about soul coughing, or have people like embraced what you're doing now, moving on? Because it's been a while.
Oh, I had to be like super firm about like, nope, not doing that stuff, listen to new stuff. And so, you know, I had to develop an audience that was like into the new stuff. And, you know, I am so grateful for them. They are awesome to be listening. And, you know, it's funny since the book has come out, people have come up to me and been like, man, I'm really sorry that I yelled out a soul coughing song at, you know, some show in St. Louis 10 years ago, you know, because people didn't know how dark it was. Yeah. And I guess I didn't know they didn't know.
Speaking of things that often turn to the dark, I'm brought to your German song.
Yeah.
On the album, Yes and Also Yes, you threw in a song completely in German that kind of, what's it, Melikoser Man? No, Mekaloser Man.
Mekaloser Man, Immaculate Man.
Yeah. So where did that come from?
I mean, I've been studying German for a few years just because I was interested. And it's just like weird stuff I wrote in the margins of the notebook when I was doing my homework, just weird phrases.
Yeah, like I took German in college and I was like, a kid is an egg.
Yeah, a tiny child eats a tiny egg. Yeah, it's all super weird phrases.
I enjoyed it. It was completely, I mean, you know, I just didn't, are you big in Germany?
No, as a matter of fact, I went over there as a miserable failure. I could draw like 100 people in Berlin, and that is it.
Well, you just need to open for David Hasselhoff, and then you're good to go.
Well, I mean, you know what? The Germans are hip to the fact that we make fun of them for that, and it really bums them out.
Oh.
So they're like, oh, come on. You guys are into, like, amazingly bad stuff in America. Come on.
Actually, that's a fair assessment, yeah.
You know. They gotta live with it.
Again, we're on with Mike Doughty here on Artist Direct, and I want to make sure everyone knows Mike Doughty is going to be appearing Thursday, March 29th at The Mill, a great place in Iowa City, part of the Mission Creek Festival, and we will be giving away those tickets here pretty soon, so keep listening to FM 100.5. Pretty excited about that. So we've talked about Yes and Also Yes. We've talked about the Book of Drugs. The other thing is you just had an album come out in January, which was all recorded live from your tours. What is it? Question jar shows.
The Question Jar show, yeah.
So is this really what it sounds like? People got to put questions into a jar?
Yeah, they did, and it's all super weird questions.
Like,
would you rather be an orange or an oak tree?
Ooh, what would you rather
if
be?
If you were a pharaoh, what curse would you put on your tomb? Would you rather play Twister with Dick Cheney or punch a kitten in the face?
Oh, wow!
You know, just like people got weird, and it's beautiful. And my cello player Andrew Scrap Livingston is like my foil on this, and he's hilarious.
I feel bad. My questions seem so lame in comparison.
Oh, what in this interview? No, come on now. I should know. I'll answer anything about.
I should have asked you.
Stuff.
Yeah, Dick Cheney or punch a kitten in the face. I'm actually a Twister with Dick Cheney. That would be interesting.
Interesting is a word for it. Now I do the Twister. I mean, I wouldn't like it, but good Lord, I wouldn't punch a kitten in the face. Are you crazy?
I'm so glad to hear you say that.
Indeed.
So the album is 2 discs. It's a lot of music, and you've got
a lot of music.
Yeah, you're playing a lot of the things that that have sort of come through your repertoire over the last 10 years or so.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah.
I noticed 27 Jennifers. Thank you very much. That a little narcissistic there, but I do dig that song. You've got other things on there. Is Bustin' Up a Starbucks on there?
I think so. I mean, it's kind of a mainstay.
It is a mainstay.
To be honest, I do so much stuff that the moment I'm done with it, I've forgotten about it almost in its entirety.
Well, let's talk about that. You're on to new things. That album just came out in January. What are you doing right now?
Oh, I mean, I don't want to jinx it, because whenever I say I'm going to do X, it ends up not happening.
Got it.
But I just I'm working on some just songs and other songs. So, I just hope to put out more music.
Fair enough. And you're on tour.
And I'm on tour, yeah.
Which in and of itself is a pretty busy life. Well, Mike Doughty, first of all, I just have to thank you for joining me this morning. It really means a lot that you took the time and answered some of my ridiculous questions.
Oh, you're so welcome. Thanks for having me.
And in the liner notes, I noticed that you say that you wear Paul Smith and Soul Mascot eyeglasses, and you eat only gummy bears made by Haribo. And
indeed, yeah.
And
I wouldn't understand anybody that would decide they would eat anything other than Haribo. That is the stuff.
So the question was, you had said that you put those in there because you were hoping they sent you free stuff. Did they send you?
I got free glasses. Yeah, from Soul Mascot, they got me free glasses.
So here's the real question.
Thanks for the free advertising. Boom.
Exactly. Here's the real question. Would you have rather had the Soul Mascot eyeglasses or all you could eat gummy bears from Haribo for the rest of your life?
I don't think I'd make a very bad fat man, and I would become a fat man very quickly. So,
sunglasses it is.
I think for the sake of my health, it would have to be the glasses.
Fair enough. Thank you, Mike Doughty. And before we go here, we're going to hear one more track off of the album Yes, and also Yes, which, to remind you again, was the name of his profile on the online dating site, which I think is phenomenal. This is a track called Nah Nah Nothing, and Mike, thanks again for taking the time.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
All right, see you in Iowa City. It's Artist Direct here on FM 100.5. Here's Nah Nah Nothing with Mike Doughty.
Thank you for listening to Artist Direct, presented by Holstrom Jewelers, Elm Street, Cresco. Catch Artist Direct again next week, right here on FM 100.5.